So, you want to cook like a rock star. This is where we're going to compare the similarities between making music and making food. Today, we're going to cook like a rock star. Musicians have a lot of options when it comes to making the sounds that they make, a lot of digital options. Cooks have sort of the same opportunities. There are sous vide machines, there are air fryers, there are Instapots. What you really need to know how to do is take your guitar and plug it straight in to a tube amp. That is the sound. The cooking equivalent of that, to play straight in, is to grab yourself some cast iron. So today in our cast iron, we're going to do a crispy skin salmon with a brown sugar balsamic glaze. Speaking of brown sugar, let's see what straight in sounds like. We're going to pair that with an Arugula Feta Farro salad. So the first thing we want to do is prepare our salmon. I have these two lovely salmon fillets that are locally sourced. I want to make sure that the scales have been removed from the skin. Crispy skin salmon is great unless it's crispy skin scaled salmon. We don't want that. So I'm going to score the skin. You can use a very sharp knife. I'm going to use my bread scorer for this, and I'm just going to cut 3 slots in each one. That will let a little bit of the heat from the pan get up inside and help it cook a little bit more evenly as the skin is crisping up. All right, so the next thing we want to do is season the salmon. So I'm just going to use a little bit of kosher salt. We don't want to season too early, so we're going to get this in the pan pretty quick. Okay, so we've got our cast iron heated up. It's on a medium-low heat. You don't want to go too hot so that you burn your salmon. You want to let it crisp for about 2 minutes on the skin side. So let's start with oil. Just some avocado oil. Splash in there. And then we're going to take our salmon and lay it gently in our oil. Let that heat up for a second. Just a little smoke. Perfect. Hear that sound. Love that sound. All right, so now we've got our salmon skin side down. We're not going to put in our glaze just yet. We're going to let this cook for about 2 minutes, and then we're going to flip it really quick and put it in the oven for just another couple of minutes. It's been about 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and flip that over. And just give it a little kiss of the heat. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this right in the oven. All right, so let's put together our balsamic glaze. So I'm just going to mix together, about a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. And maybe a tablespoon and a half of brown sugar. And then maybe a 1/4 cup of white wine. People will use water for this, but I don't like to cook with water. Why not use something with a little bit more flavor? We want to get a reduction going on this, so we need to use something that will reduce, and wine will reduce as well as water. The other thing that we're going to need is about the juice from about half of a lemon. So you don't want to get seeds in your sauce, so I will filter the lemon with my hand and catch any of the seeds that are going to come out. So then we're just going to whisk that together real quickly, make sure the sugar gets dissolved in there. And that will become our balsamic glaze. We're going to cook that in the same cast iron that we do the salmon. I'm going to save this half of the lemon for the salad, which we will make next. All right, so this salad is really going to be pretty tasty. I'm going to do some baby arugula. And since we only have 2 salmon portions, I'm going to make sure that there's a moth in the room. Since we only have 2 salmon portions, I'm going to only make enough salad to really plate 2 servings. So I've got the arugula. I'm going to go ahead and add some juice of the other half from my lemon. Now I'm going to add a little bit of sherry vinegar. How much? A splash. And then we're going to add a little olive oil. So this is an olive wood smoked olive oil. Very flavorful. And I'm just going to drizzle a little bit on there. So the next thing that I'm going to add to my salad is the farro. So farro is an ancient grain. It's sort of related to wheat. And it has been cooked, so it's nice and tender. And I'm just going to add that into my salad. Now that we have the farro, let's get a little bit of feta cheese. This is definitely a Greek sort of salad. So never buy the pre-crumbled feta. That's not the way to do it. You get real feta and crumble it with your hands. Cooking like a rock star means you get your hands dirty. So a nice little bit of feta. The next thing I'm going to add to the salad is some quartered Campari tomatoes. These are my favorite tomatoes. They're so good. And finally, I've got a mix of chopped red grapes and Kalamata olives. They go great together. I use this combination all the time when I'm making anything that's sort of Greek flavored. And then I'm just going to toss this salad together quickly. So good. And finally, let's chop a little bit of dill and sprinkle this on top of our salad. Can't go wrong with dill. A little dill goes a long way, but I like it. So we'll add some dill. All right, let's tend to the salmon. Okay, it has been a couple of minutes in the oven. I'm just going to go ahead and add my glaze right to this cast iron. Now that's going to reduce and start bubbling up and create a nice glaze. I'm just going to bathe over the salmon with that glaze. That starts to reduce and get nice and sticky. Okay, time to take the salmon out. I'm just going to put it on a plate to set it aside. And I'm going to let this further reduce because we'll add it to the plate as a sauce. All right, we're ready to plate this up. So let's get a little bit of this salad. Sure we get a little bit of that farro in there. Sprinkle some of that farro around the outer edges so you can definitely see it. And then I'm going to take the salmon fillet and lay it right on top of the salad. And then we're going to take a little bit of our reduction and just drizzle that right on top of the salmon. And then finally, top with a little black basil. Love this stuff. And we have a beautiful crispy skinned salmon cooked straight in to the cast iron.